Hey everyone, Brian here, and I thought I'd do my own little response to a video I watched yesterday. It's by a guy I subscribe to called Zaranyzerak. I can't think of his name, really pronounce that name he put on his page, but he basically does 15 to 20 minute reviews of cartoon, DVD box sets, you name it, things like that. And he's also part of this group called the 5 Awesome Studs, which have their own channel. And they do all these challenges. And one of the challenges they did a couple months ago was to name the top 5 cartoons. Now, according to what the guy said, according to what he said, not only did himself and his fellow members do a great job in telling what the top 5 cartoons were, but so did the viewers. So I figured I'm going to do my own version of that, but I'm also going to show you off some of the box sets I have. Now, you've seen the box sets that I have in past videos, but not like this, because there are some box sets you have not seen yet, and some collector sets you have not seen yet. But anyway, let's start off with my top 5 cartoons, okay? First of all, at number 5 is Disney's Bonkers. I like the show because it's very funny, it's got a good storyline when you look at it. Number 4, as much as I hate to say it, is Yugioh. Yugioh, based on the card game as we know, got a lot of action and adventure in it, very good animation, great storyline when you look at it, although personally I think they would have done better if they would have just kept it uncut and maybe put a TV PG rating on it, because that's what Cartoon Network's doing now with some of the cartoons they have doing today. Number 3, I have to go with, well, it's kind of hard to say. I have to go with Rescue Rangers. I mean, I love Rescue Rangers. If I was to do a top 5 Disney shows, they'd be the top ones. But Rescue Rangers is number 3 because it's a great show. Grew up on it. Thought they were going to have a movie. That possibility was thrown out the window when DuckTales didn't do so well. But yeah, number 3 is Rescue Rangers. Number 2 is Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's all Sonic, believe it or not. As much as I'd like to say it's number 1, and if I wanted to do like a top 3 on it, of course Satty M would be number 1, and Sonic X and Sonic Underground Adventures, the top 4, whatever. But yeah, it's number 2. It would be number 1, like I said, if it was a top 4 or top 5 Sonic cartoon list. And of course, number 1 is Transformers. Transformers, I grew up on Transformers back in the 80s. I've seen the movie over 1,000,000 times, even though I didn't, according to my sisters anyway, I've seen it over 1,000,000 times, even though I've never seen it in the theaters. And I've seen the live action film. I'm going to see the next one, and really that's all I can say, for my top 5. Now, getting on to my collector sets and my box sets that I have. Now, like I told you, you've seen some of these in the past, some you haven't. Now, some of it may surprise you, and if this has to go into 2 parts, forgive me. And if you see my hand coming towards the camera, I'm checking the time because, unlike certain people, I don't have that unlimited time span. I only have like certain time spans. 10 minute, I should say. Or actually 11 minute, on the borderline, if you will. But anyway, I apologize if that happens. Now, let's get into my collectors and box sets, shall we? First of all, this came out in 2001 or 2004, I can't really remember. It's an all-region DVD, two DVD set. And although Warner Brothers has been reissuing all the cartoons now of this character, this cartoon, on box sets, I was able to get this about 4 or 5 years ago. Like I said, it's all region. You could probably find this in a dollar store now, if you're lucky. And that is the 75th Anniversary Collector's Edition of Popeye the Sailorman. And it's got 34, as it says right here, it's got 34 classic cartoons on 2 DVDs, as we can see. There's disc 1 and there's disc 2. I know they look the same. It's got It's got a booklet on the history of him, a little booklet, and then it tells you what the cartoons are. It has all the cartoons uncut and unedited. It actually has commentary on, I believe, Alibaba, Popeye, Aladdin's Wonderful Lamp, and I think Popeye Meets Sinbad. And like I say, they're all cut. Disc 1 is both discs are separated by error. So disc 1 is mostly the Max Fleischer or the Fleischer Studios era from the 30s to early 40s, and disc 2 is all the famous Studio or Paramount era cartoons. Those released in theaters. It starts with the first one, which is, I think it's the first one. Some cartoons is cut out. I don't know why they didn't put some cartoons in here. But they start out with Me Musical Nephews, and they got all the cartoons in there. They got Polly Boo Woos, they got Patriotic Popeye, Spree Lunch, Private Eye Popeye, things like that. 20th anniversary, things like that. And it's a great collector's edition. It's not in 5-point surround sound. I had one that was in 5-point surround sound. That was the 70th anniversary. But this is in digital mono, doubly digital mono. Like I said, it's an all-region disc, made in the U.S., and it was released by VCI Entertainment. I don't know if if they're still doing any DVDs and things like that. But that's my Popeye the Sailor Man DVD. And that's the collector's, which is the 75th anniversary collector's edition. Now, let's look at something else I have here. I spoke about Yu-Gi-Oh earlier. Now, I have the movie, who doesn't have the movie, which came out in theaters. But I also have two things that were released as movies, but they're actually 12 episodes. They're actually the 12-episode miniseries, short miniseries that came out on 4Kids TV, sort of a spin-off of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters. Now, as it says here on the back, it's a new game, new rules. Basically what it is Yu-Gi-Oh! And his friends, or Yugi and his friends, get trapped in this real-life version of a board game, of a new dueling board game that Yugi has discovered. And instead of using disc and cards, they use these little things. They get these things on their arms. They're kind of like they're like shooters. These things they'll put on the arms are kind of like shooters. And instead of having cards shoot up, they have these like little capsules they put into the middle here, lock it in, and then fire it, and then whatever monster they put in there comes out. So like if Yugi wanted to summon Dark Magician, puts in the Dark Magician capsule, summons it. Same thing with Blue Eyes White Dragon. Same thing with Celtic Guardian. Things like that. And all the characters do get like a main monster. They do get a main monster. I have to rewatch these again, but I believe Yugi gets Dark Magician, Taya gets the Dark Witch, Joey gets, I think, Flame Swordsman, and Grandpa, that's right, Yugi's grandpa's involved in this as well, gets Summoned Skull, and so far, Tristan gets Thunder Kid. I know he gets someone else, I just can't think of it right now, but those are the main monsters. That they get, and what they have to do is pass the real life version of this game to get out of there. And they go through all these obstacles, but what they don't know is that the guy that led them to this board game area in which they become part of is actually possessed by an evil spirit that wants the power. And it's actually like an evil counterpart to Alexander the Great, who's in here, believe it or not. I think that's what it is. But together, but overall, they're put together as a movie. It's one movie, and what happens? It's one movie. It's like 6 episodes on each disc, and there are deleted scenes as well. So the deleted scenes are basically what you saw when it was aired originally for the first time on 4Kids TV. Those are deleted scenes. But it's a good far but overall it's a good 2 DVD set, and I'd advise if you haven't seen it to go buy it or rent it and see it. It's very good. It's got a good storyline. Now hold on for a second. Let me check my time. Because like I said, I got a 10-minute limit. And I'm going to have to close out on this one, on part 2. And I will be back with, part 1, and I'll be back with part 2.